G'day Darkrealmers, it's horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott here with you once again, and today I'm going to be reviewing A.L Mengel's wonderful supernatural thriller, The War Angel. So let's get started. Hey, if this is your first time to the Diaries, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Lovely to have you with us. If you want to keep up with the best in horror book reviews, movie reviews, creepypasta and trivia, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification, and you'll never miss out on anything from the world of horror. Okay, Darkrealmers, so what is the War Angel? Well, I'll tell you right now, so let's get started. Yeah! Okay, Darkrealmers, well, A.L Mengel, or Andy Mengel, is a Florida writer who's also a member of the group I belong to, the Awethors. And we're a group of international authors from all around the world, and we help and support each other and promote each other. And Andy's one of the loveliest guys that I've ever met. And I was so just overjoyed that he actually sent me this personal autographed copy of The War Angel, simply because I took the time to review his wonderful book, The Bloods of Cancer, and you can check that one review out for yourselves here too, Darkrealmers. Well, The War Angel is a brilliant book that encompasses the supernatural and the spiritual elements with vampires. Okay, now you're probably thinking, no, that doesn't sound like it meshes, but believe me, Andy does this brilliantly. And these are vampires who aren't just standard, generic vampires that we see so often in books, okay? They actually receive what is called the dark gift, and they are, when they're first transformed, they are your typical vampires. They need flesh, they need blood, and they need to stay in coffins, but then they evolve into what's known as the children of Baal. And they can walk around in daylight, and they can look in mirrors and have a reflection, and they're just basically immortals. Now that doesn't make them bland by any means, but it does make them fascinating characters, because what Andy has done with this book, which is very, very clever, is that he's combined, some biblical prophecies and tied it in with these immortals. Now, in the book, you'll find, the biblical quote about, on the day of judgment, those who aren't in the book of life are cast down into this fiery, lake for all eternity to drown and writhe in agony and everything. Well, of course, the immortals are vampires, and even though they evolve beyond that, they still have to feed off humans and so forth. So one of the biggest fears for them is eternal damnation. Now, you're probably thinking, well, hang on, they're immortal, they won't. No, Andy's very cleverly taken care of that, because in The War Angel, these immortals can lose their gift of immortality, and if they lose their gift of immortality, they die as mortals, and therefore they can face eternal damnation. And that's just a really brilliant concept, because imagine being an immortal and wondering whether you're going to lose this precious gift that you've got, and that you're going to be damned for all eternity. So that's a brilliant concept. And Andy writes in a really, as I was reading this, it's really hard to sort of describe, but I'll try, Darkrealmers, okay? He writes in a very gentle, almost like a wind chime. That's hard. That's probably hard for you to sort of get your head around. But imagine Andy is there and he's whispering the story into your ear, as opposed to another reader who's at the other end of the room shouting it to you. It's just the language. It's just the way his words flow. It's very gentle, but it's very powerful too. Now, the book deals with a number of immortal characters. There's Delia, and her experiences are amazing because I won't tell you, you know, like the revelation, but she finds herself in different time zones, which is just brilliant. It's a wonderful concept where she goes from a child in France to a fully grown woman in Jerusalem, and it all ties in with the whole story. But one of the creepiest scenes that Andy has done that really blew me away reading it was when she's a child in her bedroom and the rocking chair starts creaking and there's Lucifer there, you know, in the room with her. But Andy very cleverly doesn't, you know, do a full-blown description of Lucifer. He very subtly mentions, you know, like just the light catching this red, you know, sort of muscle, demonic-looking flesh, and just a glimpse of horns. So it's very subtle but very powerful. Then we've also got the two other immortals in the War Angel book, and that's Antonia and Darius, and they are both immortals. Darius was the maker of Antone, and they're lovers, and they've lived for obviously hundreds of years, and they have chateaus and so forth, and there's that very distinct feel. It's got a very Anne Rice feel about it, you know, with but not, I don't want you to get in any way, shape or form that Andy is copying Anne Rice, because his immortals are very different from the Anne Rice creations, but there's that sense of a great sense of you know, the love between you know, these immortals, and not just, you know, Darius and his partner, but also Delia. And come into the mix, you've got a really incredible group called the Inspiriti, which are immortals who, you know, reside or sort of operate within the Roman Catholic Church, you know, and that they their job is to oversee the affairs of the immortals. Now, it's quite amazing when you think of these, you know, immortals, you know, and that they are actual clergymen and women. There are nuns and there are, you know, monsignors and so forth. And it's almost like you get this, well, the church knows, you know, that these immortals are part of the grand scheme of things. They're part of, you know, perhaps God's plan, and so that they might not totally approve of them, but they do know that they exist, and therefore they need to you know, to keep in sort of close contact with these immortals, because the immortals basically are the link between heaven and hell. You know, they see demons and they see angels and so forth. Now, the concept of War Angel is that, you know, there's a very, very wonderful setup that Andy does in the first chapter, where he doesn't jump in and tell us, you know, well, the War Angel. He starts making you wonder what it is, because the first chapter is all about what is a War Angel? Does it exist? Do people believe in it? Do immortals believe in it? You know, is it true that people have seen this War Angel? And so we straight away, Andy draws us in, making us wonder, oh, is this real? Is this, you know, just a delusion, this War Angel who is meant to be an angel that comes down and protects us during times of crisis and calamity and so forth. So straight away, you're reading chapter 1 and you're thinking, okay, am I going to meet this War Angel? Is it a figment of the populace's imagination? So it's really wonderful how he draws you in like that, okay? Now, I'm not going to give you any spoilers with the book's Dark Realms, but it's a wonderful tale of immortals who discover that they are something more than immortals, okay? And it's also a book of redemption and love and, you know, biblical prophecy and overcoming fear, and all those concepts, you know, are bound together in this wonderful supernatural book. It's brilliantly written, and it's part of the Tales of Tartarus series that Andy's got. And as I mentioned, I've reviewed The Blood Decanter, which is brilliant, and that's heavily mentioned in this book, about someone who is going around offering the immortals a chance at salvation. If they drank from this decanter, they would find salvation. Well, it wasn't. It was all a ruse, and the decanter basically turned them mortal again. But as I've mentioned, they become mortal, they're instantly, lined up for damnation. So that is brilliant. It's just a wonderful read, very well written, very evocative. You do get to enjoy these characters. They're all very different. My favourite, without doubt, is Delia, because she's just a woman who lost her gift, and she was once a beautiful starlet on vaudeville in France, and now she's an old lady, and you get this image of this old lady who's she may look frail and everything, but she's got a great mind. She's very determined, she's very strong-willed, but she gets her gift back, but by that time she's already aged. So there's this wonderful whole thing about the gift of immortality, and then gaining it and losing it, coupled with scenes of angels on this desolate beach in Tartarus, where the souls of the damned are arriving and trying to climb out of this water, and some of them are making it to the shore and so forth. Just wonderful. Okay, Darkrealmers, well, that's my review of Andy Mengel's War Angel. Now, I've included the link to Andy's author page down here in the comment section, so you can check out his other works and find out a bit more about Andy yourselves. And I've also included the Amazon link for you to buy War Angel for yourself. Look, you won't be disappointed in this. If you like vampires that are different, and you like the whole spiritual, biblical references without it being religious and over the top and overdone, you're going to love this, okay? So that's it for me, Darkrealmers. I don't want to make this too long, because otherwise there's so much I could talk about this book, and it's all wonderful. But you know me, I don't give spoilers, okay? But that's just a taste of what you can expect in this wonderful book, okay? Well, that's it from me, Darkrealmers. Thank you so much for joining me for this review of The War Angel. I was absolutely chuffed reading it and thoroughly enjoyed it. So check that one out for yourselves. And that's it from me, horror author and writer, sorry, brain's not working, horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott. And as I always say to you, stay in the light, Darkrealmers, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.